All right, go ahead.
Welcome to the Ink Pulp Podcast and the Essential Sequential Stream. I'm doing the intro today because we're going to air this on my podcast next week. And we're going to raise some money today. We're auctioning off a piece where I inked Magnola. Jay, you want to hold that up and put that on the screen real quick? So if anyone's interested in this lovely piece, you can bid right there in our chat on the what is that, the Facebook page, Jay, is where the chat is. Okay. And Jim has his Magnola Godzilla up for auction on eBay right now, which Jason will put the link.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Jason will put the link up as we're going. And today we're going to be inking over John Romita Jr. And we got Tommy Lee Edwards here. We got Mahfood here. Klaus Janson doing his thing. And Jason's going to run the show here. I think that's about all I need to say. So, Jay, take it from here.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Thanks for coming today. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys.
Let's see. I guess looks like Jim's going to be inking a cable piece. All right. We got a good shot of that. Very cool. Do you know where that's from, Jim?
I don't. Shawn, you sent this to me. What is this from?
I think it was from Rough Stuff magazine. I don't know what the drawing was done for, but there was an issue of Rough Stuff magazine that focused on Romita Jr. There were a ton of pencils in there.
Cool.
Oh, very cool. And then Shawn, you're doing a Spider-Man?
I got a Spidey. I'm going to ink, which I'm very excited about. Tommy, I fixed the leg. I know it's sacrilegious, but I mean, I was looking at it and I had to fix it. Tommy's freezing up.
There he is. Tommy, which one are you going to ink?
He's frozen.
He's frozen. All right, we'll come back to him. And then Klaus is actually working on an Action Comics page, right?
Detective.
A detective page.
Ooh,
so
yeah, it's a Batman story. It's for that one 1027 issue, that big compilation, or I think it's 100 pages, something like that.
Okay, so you get to see him ink a actual page, and then we can just see a frozen image of Tommy, I guess, for a bit. Hopefully
he'll fix it. He usually fixes it. But Klaus, any advice as we start to ink here, Mr. Romita Jr.? You're quite experienced at this one.
You know, it's a funny thing. I've been thinking about that a lot. You know, I think probably the most important thing to think about is, for me anyways, I'm talking about just for me, is, and maybe this is obvious, but line weight. I find that, you know, inkers that ink John without a lot of variety in line weights tend to flatten him out. And I don't think that looks good on him.
Okay.
You know, I think John has a lot of volume and depth in his drawing and in his work. So I find generally it's good to try to bring that out.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because I started going in with kind of a deadline, and now I'm going to switch it up.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I don't know about how you guys feel about this, about working a line. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Is that sort of anathema? How do you guys feel about it? I mean, I do it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I do it a lot. I'm gonna actually, since you've said that, I'm starting to look at this a lot differently.
I can't hear anybody. All right, I'm out of here.
But yeah, I'm gonna play with these line weights a lot more now.
You know, the funny thing, and I'm just going to talk. I don't know if you can hear me, but the funny thing about John's pencils is that I think that I approach him a little bit in a bold, way. especially the action scenes. I sort of start thinking about Frank Robbins or Milton Caniff or people like that.
Right.
But on the other hand, when Al Williamson inked him, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And Al
Yeah.
is not necessarily fall into the category of a bold inker.
Right. He's very delicate and graceful.
Yeah. And it was just stunningly beautiful. So John is at least versatile enough, where his pencils can absorb both of those approaches.
Yeah, I'm figuring it out. Starting to, at least.
Hey, Klaus, if you can hear me. What's that, Tommy?
Yep.
Tommy texted me. He said he's having issues.
Am I there?
Oh, yeah, we're here, Tommy.
All right, I'll show you real quick what I'm doing. I found this whole drawing. It's part of a cover, but I was just going to do the Hulk part of it. So I'm throwing it on the light box right now, and I'm going to ink it on this Bristol.
Awesome.
Very cool.
That looks like something from like World War Hulk or something.
Yeah,
I think Tommy's connection's a little slow.
yeah. He texted me. He said he's very frustrated. He's trying to work it out. Jim, you're here,
Well, when
right?
you got your
Jim?
Yes.
I've got
Okay.
my wife working at home. My daughter's doing school. It's just sucks.
They're using up all the bandwidth, huh?
I got it. That's the problem. Klaus, I'm glad you said that about the line weights, because now I'm starting to find some successes. I think if I had gone in with my original approach, it would have been a disaster.
Klaus, can you hear us?
Do you use any kind of formula for line weights?
Lately in my own work, I've been making these really bold brush deadlines, like really thick. And I work very geometrically. Like my pencils and my forms are very geometric, so it tends to work. And I did that on the Magnolia piece that we're auctioning off right now, and it worked. I didn't do it. No, I did do it on the Simonson piece, but I went on the Simonson piece. I attacked it with such speed that it worked because I was capturing the energy trying to capture the energy of what he does. But so right now I feel like I'm just.
What do you think? What do you mean by geometric, Shawn?
So kind of like Magnolia is very geometric to me, like basic blocky shapes, not very complicated, very hard edges, like wedges and blocks, like George Bridgman's anatomy book. That's where it comes from, because I as a kid that kind of really.
I hadn't put Bridgman together with that. I think you're right about that.
Yeah, well, it's funny, when I was getting my master's degree and I was studying Magnolia and Bridgman heavily at the same time, I started seeing the exact references Magnolia was using in some of his works, like Cosmic Odyssey, right from the Bridgman text.
For some reason I'm flashing on Bridgman's knees, because those, there are like 3 different layers of under there. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to pull the Bridgman books out and take a look at them.
Yeah, they had a big, they allowed me to start to see things 3-dimensionally. Because before that, when I first saw it, I was young and I didn't have anyone who had the ability to teach me how to see value in form. So Bridgman broke it down to such simple, like geometric shapes and I could see like this wedge of the shape will hit the light, this wedge will hit the shadow. That makes sense to me, and therefore that it just hit my logic, and it's been a part of me since.
I kind of think that when you're thinking about line weights or the variety of line weights, that it begin and check me on this, that it begins with a light source. Don't you think, Sean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's everything. Knowing where your light is, like knowing to do the underside of this hand I'm making because the light would be on top of it.
Right.
Yeah. I agree with
But
that.
you're not restricted to just the light source. In other words, if it works with disregarding the light source, you would go for it, right?
Yeah, and that's something I see in your work, and I remember in Giordano's ink seeing that, where these big, just bold marks that went against the light, but they were either needed for clarity's sake, or it was just an expressive move that worked.
That's right. I remember. You know how you have moments when you're growing up or when you're developing as an artist. I remember watching Dick ink a fist, which was closest to the camera, and he did it with a really heavy line, which completely disregarded, light source. And I asked him, and he said it was because it was about depth. So
right.
The heaviest line was in the foreground. The fist was in the foreground. So
right, exactly, and that's exactly how I taught inking. Was atmospheric perspective has to be considered as well. So your big bold lines, put them in the foreground, you'll build a lot of depth with that.
Well, that's why I asked if there is a formula, that you're using. I noticed that a lot of the kids at school, if there isn't some sort of a equation, they sort of get lost, so I tell them, well, it's light source, and then as a beginning.
I agree with you totally on that. I remember, as a teacher, I started just becoming, it just, things became a doctrine where there were all these rules, and I was teaching them, and it gave them parameters to learn within and understand why they were doing what they were doing. But ultimately, for me, it started to ruin me because I was losing kind of the instinct and the expressionism of the work. So I think that's one of the tricks of being a teacher. That can be tricky. You fall into creating these doctrines, because I do feel like the developing artistic mind needs some rules to kind of rein them in a bit so they can start to understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and then they can break the rules later.
All right, so there's a few questions coming in. First, Federico's wanting to bid on some of these pieces. We'll have these up for auction next week on eBay. We'll post the links once they're ready to go.
We'll post the links on all social media and on my YouTube channel. This will be up as a podcast, and I'll have the links in the comment in the description there as well.
And funds did we decide which charity we're going to donate to?
No, today we got to figure that out. Today, Jim, actually your eBay auction, what are those funds going to that food thing again?
Yeah, the first two were for Queens Feeds hospitals out of the East Coast, and then the one Mignola Godzilla one is the let me look it up real quick. It's at Bail Project on Instagram, which is the organization that bails out people that were involved in peaceful protest.
All right, so
awesome. I think the Romita pieces should go maybe to Black Lives Matter or an organization similar to that, fighting racism and shit.
All right, that's fine. That's cool.
Jim, is that cool for you?
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. Just let people know. I put up the Godzilla piece right now, and you guys can go bid on that at the moment on Jim's. Well, that doesn't help on Jim's eBay account.
Yeah.
So I posted the link at the top in the comments, but I mean, this is just a bunch of garbledygook. If you just do Godzilla Jim Mahfood, I'm sure you'll find it.
Yes.
I think it's currently at around $500.
Yep.
So all the proceeds go for a charity on that one. So go take a look. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, Klaus.
Yeah.
I had a specific question for you. Old school 1980s comic book question. When you took over, they relaunched The Punisher as a monthly series, and you were the artist on that.
Sure.
There was correct me if I'm wrong, but you were penciling, inking, and even coloring some of those issues.
Right.
How did you physically do that? Like, were you sleeping like 3 hours a night, or like how did you do that?
Well, first we cheated, and the book was actually on a 6-week schedule.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I've never heard of, but they did it so that, which was incredibly nice of them. Marvel did it so that I could do, turn out a book a month, theoretically a month, in air quotes.
Right.
But the Daredevil stuff, the last year of Daredevil was also penciling and inking and coloring, and that was on a monthly book. Although Frank was doing, the layouts of that, which was, incredibly helpful and fortunate. It's impossible to, pencil and ink a book. For me, I can't do it in a month. Can you? I can't.
Yeah, I feel you. That's why I was just curious as to how you guys were doing that. And then with the coloring on that, when you handled your own colors on your own work, was that like Dr. Martin, like colored dye style, or like how are you technically doing your own coloring?
That's exactly right. Have you ever done the Dr. Martens?
I haven't.
We would get, we'd finish the pages, and then the Marvel would supply me with 8.5 by 11 Xeroxes, basically. Not basically, it was exactly that. So it was on really cheap, typewriter paper.
Right.
And I would sit and color it by hand. And then you'd have to notate the colors so that the separators could accurately choose the right color combination. So, not to bore you with this, but for instance, orange, a strong orange would be YR2.
Right.
100% yellow and 25% orange. Or red, rather, red. So 100% yellow and 25% red would make orange. Green would be, 100% Y and 100% B. And they'd have all these percentages. And, as you can tell, it scarred me for life.
Klaus, I don't think that stuff's boring. I love hearing about the Pantone colors and color separators, trying to guess based on the inks. I love that. That's part of like print history that we need to like keep alive.
Yeah.
It actually, it was a lot of fun, and it was really interesting to be able to control the product to such an extent that doesn't really happen that much anymore. Mitch Gerards might do it because he does everything on his pages, but
right.
It's interesting. I had a blast. I really did.
That's awesome. I love that book. And even with a 6-week schedule, though, I mean, that's still a ridiculous amount of work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. Yeah,
that's amazing. So that was just, obviously that's just your life while that book is happening. Like that's basically all you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's right. And just between you and me, don't tell anybody. I kind of like it that way.
Right.
It's. Other than work, really, what else is there? And I'm asking, anybody got anything?
Right.
Eric Canetti's here. He says to say hello to everybody.
Eric, what up?
Eric. What a talented guy that guy is.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with Jeff DeCali the other week. Eric's just so goddamn amazing.
He really is amazing.
He's like the Yoda of the crew.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
The wise master.
Funkmaster Kennedy.
Let's see. We've got a question for y'all. What has been your favorite comic book that you have worked on? Tommy, we haven't heard from you in a bit. You want to start that one off?
Sure. I would say it's hard because like there are ones that might be my favorite that I worked on, but then there are ones that I'm most proud of. I say the one I'm most proud of is probably Turf that I did with Jonathan Ross for that we did through Image. That's the one that I would probably work the hardest at. At the same time, like I kind of worked too hard at it and like just kind of went broke doing that book. So it's sort of like good and bad, you know.
Oh, comics. Dude, that statement, it pretty much only applies to comics. I worked so hard and made no money.
Yeah. Well, I think it's unfortunately it's a lot of art forms like music, dance, or all these things that it's sort of like we end up spending all this time and because we love it, So
absolutely.
And it's a weird thing, but it's sort of like what Klaus was just saying about what else is there, and I found that like I kind of like eventually I started to feel like it's not awesome for my mental health if I don't do something else.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
So I'm trying to like how on Saturdays I go work on old cars and stuff, and just trying to do more of that. Cool. Yeah. So because otherwise, I just kind of as work's gone on, like I think some of the things I'm more interested in now are like more collaborative kinds of things sometimes. So like the animated series I directed, the Brandon Generator series that Edgar Wright wrote, like I feel like some of that sometimes is really rewarding. But then I miss having my own thing to do with comics, like
right.
So
right. You're never happy, Tommy.
Tom, when you pick Turf to as your favorite,
no, I think it's just like you need that variety. I need that variety.
Klaus, I want to hear what you were going to ask Tommy.
I was just going to ask Tom. You mentioned that Turf was your, the work that you were most proud
Internet.
of. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay,
Tom.
So you mentioned that the Turf was the work that you were the most proud of.
Yeah.
Do you think you got it out of your system, or do you look forward to the next work that you put everything into that you possibly can, the way you did Turf?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. I think I'm looking forward to it. I was kind of hoping that my next project would be that because I've been doing a lot of writing, but not in comics. I've been writing more like screenplays and animation stuff. And so it's like I want to write and do everything on a comic. So I am looking forward to that. I was hoping my next thing would be that, but with the COVID stuff and the way the economy is right now, I'm just not really in a position to do it.
Yeah, I hear you. It's changed a lot of, whatever plans we had for the year are really basically out the window.
Oh, yeah.
But it sounds to me like, Tom, that you've got another, project that you want to do where you do everything and put everything you have into it.
He froze there.
Yeah.
For a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that talk with Tommy. He loves doing that. What about you, Klaus? What was your favorite thing you worked on?
Let me think. I don't know. Probably, probably Daredevil and with Frank. And then the Daredevil I did with the End of Days with that Bill Sienkiewicz inked.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, love that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that was badass.
Thanks.
Klaus, what are your like looking back? How does Dark Knight sit with you these days? Like, do you have fond memories of working on that book?
I think that it was, honestly, it was a mixed bag. But I focus on the, it was stressful.
Was it really?
Yeah, and I don't want to dwell on that too much because it sounds so whiny.
Well, I think it's interesting. What was stressful? Was it the material was like just stressful to work on? Was there a lot of pressure on the project?
Yeah, it got to a point where it blew up. It blew up big. And
as you were working on it,
yeah, and at a certain point, like around the second issue, by the time the second one came out, or certainly toward the beginning of the third one, it got a lot of publicity and it got a lot of attention. And DC had never experienced anything like that. And I know I certainly hadn't, and I don't think Frank did. I can't speak for him, but I would guess.
Would you have changed anything? Looking back, what would you have changed about the whole experience?
I think I would have, and this was an unpredictable occurrence. So how could anyone think about this? But I think I would have made sure that we had a couple of more pages or a couple of more issues in the can before we released the first one. As it turned out, the further we got into it, the more relaxed it became. We were all kind of, I think, resigned to the fact that it was going to, there was going to be time in between issues, and that's just the way it was going to be. So it all worked out, but I think, creatively, Daredevil was more of me, and Dark Knight was definitely more Frank. Of course.
Right.
But by virtue of the fact that I was coloring, Daredevil, I think it had a little bit more of me in there, and so I look fondly on that.
Lee Weeks is in the room. He says hello. So
hey!
say hi to Lee.
Hey.
The master.
Yeah.
Sensei.
He's awesome.
Hopefully he'll come back on with us soon. Adam Kubert said he'll pop in soon as well.
Awesome. See, we did it right this time, Jay. We got people popping in. We got a show going on.
I know. I don't hear anybody.
What's well, I'll start with Klaus, but and go around. What's your favorite thing to ink? About inking, John. That you like. What's your favorite part of it?
I think that I feel like there's so much freedom. John is a great and very supportive partner or collaborator. He's extremely, supportive and complimentary, and he allows me a certain amount of freedom that a lot of the contemporary pencilers would be loath to do.
And even for you, Klaus, you get
and in a lot of ways, like Frank Miller, by the way, there's a trust in the relationship. So, my favorite thing about working with John is the ability to contribute.
Okay.
That's
awesome.
But more specifically, though, on the art itself, is there something that you like about the art itself that you like inking?
I like his chunky line. I like the way he draws. I think that. Let me say this. It'll take a minute. When I get his pages, I see his DNA, and I can see the history of comics in his work. Not only do I see his dad in there, although he's quite different from his dad in his drawing, but I can see what his dad taught him or what he learned from his dad. Sometimes he draws like John Buscema. Sometimes he draws like Gene Colan. Sometimes it looks like Carmine Infantino. And you can see the history of comics on his pages. And I don't know, I appreciate that. I don't know if that answered your question, actually.
Yeah.
I love that answer. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Do it while I'm off. Yeah.
You're dead to us, Tom.
And then have the rest of you guys ever ink over John's stuff? I know you're obviously doing it now. So at the moment, what do you like inking about it? What's the fun part?
Jim, you want to go ahead on that?
Yeah, first time ever inking over his stuff. Klaus was right. Like you kind of, it's the fun part is adding like the line weights and kind of interpreting it in your own way. He definitely has, compared to everyone else we've inked, it feels the most like Walt Simonson to me, like my approach to it, where I can kind of interpret these lines the way I want, and it's still, as long as the form is still there, it's like it still has the Romita Jr. feel to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I agree, yeah.
Shawn?
All right, look, I've always been a fan. I love his work, and I've always thought he'd be really fun to ink, because just like Jim said, there's room for you to really play quite a bit and not lose at all him. And his drawings have so much character to them. His mark making has so much character to it. It's also, like I was saying to Klaus earlier, it's chunky, and there is a geometric quality to his anatomy, so that makes sense for me. So it gives me a little more confidence as I kind of go off script a bit while inking him.
The thing that surprises me about John, and by the way, you're exactly right, both of you. But the thing that surprises me about John is that he's incredibly modest and humble about his work. He doesn't have an inflated sense of self, and I find it. He's hesitant about talking about his craft. And
really?
Yeah, and I wish he would, because I think he has a lot to say that would be really interesting. And occasionally I try to goad him into talking about his approach or what he thinks about, and he's very modest even about that. I mean, I'd love to interview him.
Yeah.
Right.
We should do a podcast.
I was just gonna say that. Please, man, let's do that. I'll get you, me, and him on the mic.
I'll interview him, right, Shawn?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, totally.
For Ink Pulp.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be awesome.
As long as we unfreeze.
Right. Exactly.
I talked to Tracy today about upgrading the service to maybe Zoom or something. I just got to figure out how to do it properly.
Well, I've never frozen on Zoom, by the way.
Yeah, Zoom has been great for me. I've been doing all my podcasts with it.
Okay, then we definitely have to do that. We got to go on Zoom.
It was just a matter of how we stream it, I guess, to the other platforms, which is what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, you can do that. Actually, Jay, I think my audio producer guy might know. I can ask him.
JJ's here. Hey, JJ.
What's up,
Jake
Jay?
Manley is here. Mark Deering.
Mark. Mark was the one that gave me these all these pencils from that Rough Stuff magazine.
Nice.
Hi, Mark.
Klaus, I'm glad you said that at the very beginning. I'm glad I asked if you had any advice.
Sean, I'm sorry. I only heard I'm glad.
Oh, I'm glad I asked at the beginning about any advice for inking him, because your advice was just what I needed to hear. And
Nope, still don't hear you. Sorry, buddy.
oh man.
Okay, I hear you now.
All right. I was just saying good advice. The advice you gave me at the beginning. Great advice.
Okay. Would anybody, because I was thinking about this, so don't mind me if I'm blabbing, but would anybody care to guess or analyze the differences between John Jr. and John Sr.?
I would love to hear that. Have you inked both of them, Klaus? Did you ever ink John Sr.?
I inked a pinup of John Sr.
All right, so then talk to us. Tell us what that was like and how it was versus his son.
Well, I think if you look at John Sr.'s work, the conclusion that I came to, and believe me, I'm really checking you guys on this. John Sr. is much more rounder and softer, and John Jr. is much harder and blockier and angular. And I think that's the reason why John Sr. was such a good romance artist, and John Jr. never could be.
Right.
Right? I mean, am I wrong?
That is some great insight.
Oh, well,
yeah. I think you're right on the money.
Yeah, John Sr., his look became like the commercial Marvel look in the 70s, right? Like, even though Ditko is my favorite Spider-Man artist, when Romita took over Amazing Spider-Man, that became like the house look of Spider-Man to the general public, basically. And it was the Spider-Man we saw on merchandise, and John Sr. just had a way of kind of making everything really digestible to, I guess, comic fans, but also the general public, right? And John Jr., I think, has this is debatable, but I think he has the superior storytelling chops. But yeah, his stuff is definitely the more angular, more stylized, I guess I would say.
Yeah, it has more power to it, or more something. But by the way, I think you're absolutely right about his storytelling chops. I think, and I know it's heresy to say this, but I think John Jr. is a better storyteller than John Sr. Oh,
yeah. No, that's why I said this is a debatable opinion I'm going to drop, but that's my thought on it, because I think John Jr. is one of the best superhero storytellers ever in mainstream comics.
Yeah, I agree with you on that for sure.
Yeah, he's incredible.
I think part of the reason too is that John Jr. makes it look effortless.
Yeah.
He does a lot of stuff that's really very clever and very thoughtful in terms of his storytelling. And, it's that kind of stuff that civilians, or those of us, who don't do art for a living, don't really see. We don't see the storytelling involved that John Jr. does.
Right.
But he is amazing. He's really incredibly talented and thoughtful in his decision making.
Yeah, I think both of you hit the nail on the head with his father, like what Jim was saying about Romita Sr. He became the house style, and yes, I do think he became the look, and I think it's because of what Klaus says. I think it's more digestible to the audience, but I also think he captures an emotional quality that I think you need for Spider-Man. And B, people see it, and I think it resonates with them. And I think that's why maybe it became the known Spider-Man look or the house look at Marvel.
Are you guys all using brushes?
I am. Everybody? Yeah.
I know Tommy is. Jim, what are you using to ink?
I've got the parallel calligraphy pen, but I've also got like the Japanese Sumi brush pen for like a dry brush look. But yeah, with the John stuff, I mean, just inking it for the first time, I was like, yeah, I think I'll just do pen and see where that goes. You know.
Oh,
like
pen! I find on John to be really terrific. I mean, it just, you know, like you guys were saying earlier, there's so much flexibility in his pencils that you can just play around and see what works.
Yeah, definitely.
Klaus, when you say pen, are you talking about nibs?
Nibs, yeah.
What type of nibs do you like to use?
I've been using the same nib just because. Well, that's not true actually. I use a couple of Japanese nibs, but the main one is the 103 Hunt's mapping point.
Okay, which Japanese nibs are you using?
I think it's the G pen, right?
Okay, yeah.
That's one, and then there's another one that I use like just for straight lines and panel borders. I forget what it is.
I'm guessing that's the school pen.
The what? Oh, you might be right. Yeah.
Because that one doesn't have any flex or give to it. It's just
right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's right. Yeah. But I do enjoy, you know, trying different nibs and you know, stuff. I mean, in terms of brushes, the Raphaels are the best.
That's what I'm using.
Yeah. So there's no, you know, experimenting allowed.
I can't imagine doing this without a brush, really. Except for, actually, if you can see, I've ruled some lines like with a straight edge, like these explosion.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Look at that arm. Damn,
That looks
Tommy.
awesome, actually.
Oh,
Nice.
Shit.
Yeah, that looks sweet.
God damn.
Yeah, but
that's
Tom,
good.
I think you're right. He brush is kind of the way to go with John.
yeah. Here, you can see better.
I mean, for me, brush is kind of the only way I can go for anything. I look at everything. I'm like, that's a brush. That's a brush.
And there's so much kind of mass to this drawing that it's kind of like you're having to kind of find it. Sometimes I've seen Johnny's stuff inked, like with,
Did Tommy freeze again?
like more pen and stuff.
Yeah. Are you thinking of anybody in particular or any job in particular, Tom?
That looks like he froze again. We have to upgrade Tommy's service too.
Tommy, where he lives, I don't know if you can get better. He's in the sticks.
Feel
Ooh, that was Tommy's gone real comic.
He's off the grid.
Man.
Jim, did you ever get a chance to answer the question of your favorite comic you worked on?
Oh, yeah. I mean, easy answer. It's always my own work. Like,
Right.
Girl Scouts create their own stuff because I'm writing, drawing, doing everything, so I don't have to answer to anyone. And you know, I like to just be left alone to do my own weird stuff.
Yeah, and you get to have your vision unfiltered come out.
Yes.
That's
Which,
awesome.
I mean, that can be a great thing, but that can also come back to bite you on the ass if you lead yourself astray or you don't. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's good to have other.
Yeah,
people.
but did that happen to you?
No, I mean, you know, I still have certain insecurities about my writing. So when I'm writing and drawing my own work, I always have to kind of check in with what I'm doing and make sure, like, does this make sense? Like, does this, you know, it sort of becomes like, you kind of have to commit to the thing and just dive in head first and go for it.
Right. I got you.
Is someone running a fax machine right now?
No, that's my scanner. I noticed I couldn't find the scan of.
Pacemaker.
That's the scanner. I just scanned. I couldn't find the scan for Shawn's Hellboy.
Oh, right on. Okay.
Yes,
So-
everyone who's now listening, we are running an auction to raise some money. And Jay, you want to hold up or I guess he's scanning it, but Jim's got a piece on eBay. We both inked Magnola on a podcast of mine, and these pieces are from that session.
Yep, I'm just getting a scan so I can pop it up on that
The mighty Mignola.
screen.
That was fun inking him.
Show everybody. So it's this. This is the piece we're going to auction today.
Yeah, Hellboy. Yeah. Klaus, actually, that's one where I was really pushing the idea of that bold line in the foreground spear, and then the background spear, just a really thin line to build that depth, like we were talking about.
I see it. Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
It's awesome, man. I love that one. It's great.
Yeah, it looks sweet.
Klaus,
I like that touch of cross hatching you did too.
Thank you.
I find that, inking is like all the lines and textures and everything. It's just a dance, It's,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I have
that's
such a
interesting.
love for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop it up here in a second. So everyone can-
Klaus, I had another question for you.
Sure.
Going back to your own work, like the Punisher stuff, for example, when you're penciling and inking your own work, are you doing like full pencil and then inking? Are you doing kind of like layouts and then finishes in the inking stage, doing like a lot of the drawing in the inking?
I know exactly what you mean, and my I would say that my favorite way to approach it is to do relatively tight pencils, and it's not because I don't enjoy inking. Obviously I enjoy inking, but I really love drawing, and I can't help it.
Right.
So I don't really think about that I'm wasting my time or this is taking too long, or I just really enjoy penciling. I enjoy looking for. Well, you guys know.
Yeah, I love that answer, Klaus, because I pencil a lot, and I think you're right. It's just I love rubbing that graphite across the paper and finding the drawing.
But having said that, I love inking someone else's rough pencils or breakdowns.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a lot of fun. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, this is a lot of fun. And when we inked Simonson, Jim, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have a bunch of Tim Sales layouts that he penciled.
No shit.
Oh, wow.
Maybe you want to do that one time.
I would love to do that. That would be awesome. Can you put one on the screen so we can see it, Jay?
Yeah, hold on. Let me find.
Hey, you guys, you know what the first original art I ever bought when I was 19, and the very first piece of original art was I was living in LA, and there was a convention at the Shrine Auditorium, a comic convention, and Johnny Romita Jr. was there, and I bought a page from him, an X-Men page.
Oh, wow. Who inked that one?
Dan Green.
Oh, awesome.
Do you still have it?
Yeah.
Is it handy or is it?
No, it's in the
tucked
house.
away?
It's in the house. I'm in the studio.
Oh, next time.
Yeah.
Is that hanging up in the house somewhere?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't remember
It
seeing it.
used to be. It used to be. It's in my I need to hang this up pile.
We all have one of those, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that pile
who collects original art, or Tom? Do you have other pieces, or
Yeah,
Jim?
I have in my studio. I have a lot of Herbert Morton Stoops, who was kind of contemporary of Dean Cornwell and a lot of those kind of guys. And he did paintings and he did ink drawings, and he did a lot of stuff for the pulp magazines in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And then I have if I just look around, I've got a Duncan Fegredo stuff and stuff from Mignola, and in the house. Oh, and I have a Jeff Darrow Godzilla.
Wow.
And I have got a couple Bob Peaks
No kidding.
Yeah, Tommy's got some great
and
art.
Bernie Fuke.
Wow. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
assume I assume Tom, those guys that like Peak and Fuchs, and what was the first guy you mentioned? The
The very first one was Herbert Morton Stoops.
Stoops. I assume they've all been big.
I have stuff from.
But I assume.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, another
Jim, what do you have?
Another one of the people I have a lot of art from.
Yes. Oh, sorry, guys. I have a huge original Ashley Wood painting hanging in my living room. He did some live art with us in San Diego Comic-Con in 2007 and gave me the painting at the end of the night.
Wow.
So that's pretty sweet. I have a original Mignola Hellboy piece that I traded him. I've got stuff from Shawn. Tommy, I don't think I have an original from you yet. We need to trade.
Jim,
Oh, yeah.
you've got crappy shit from me. I got to give you like some newer good stuff.
No, it's good stuff, man. I dig it. Like we'll
Thank you.
work it out. And you know what's cool is like in like '98 when I did my Girl Scout series at Oni, Bob Schreck helped me get pinups of the Girl Scouts from all these incredible artists. So I have all those originals, and it's like Mike Allred, Mike Oming, Duncan Fegredo, China Clugston, Andy Watson, Troy Nixie, Scott Morse, like all the great like indie '90s kind
That's
of people.
an amazing list, Jim.
Yeah, really, and it's of my characters, which means a lot to me, obviously, and I just need to get all of them framed. They're in that like portfolio that you guys are talking about. Like, oh, there's a portfolio of shit that I just need to get framed. You know?
I have that too.
Yeah.
Sean, I have a few of the layouts here.
Yeah, let me see. Oh, that would be a blast to ink right over that.
Oh wow, that's great.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be so much fun.
And then I have scans of, I think, like the first 3 or 4 issues of Captain America White. So it was layouts and
Yeah,
pencils.
that would be a
So should we do a session on Tim?
Yeah, I think we should.
We can have Tim. We can ask Tim if he wants to come in and
That
hang.
Mignola piece I have hanging up in my studio is
Tommy's just having a conversation with himself.
Oh man.
But yeah, I think if you got Tim in on that too, Jay, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, he was a little gun shy to come online.
We
recently.
can talk him into it. We can do it.
Yeah, even if he just pops in for like 20 minutes while we're working.
Yeah.
But
I'll give
even
him a call
without
this
it, I definitely want to do that. I think that would be fun.
Klaus, have you always lived in New York? Are you a New Yorker?
Klaus, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
Jim was asking if you've always lived in New York.
Oh, sorry, Jim, I didn't hear you.
no, it's all good.
No, I was in. I was born in Germany, and I came over when I was 5, and we lived in Connecticut. and then I moved to New York as soon as I could.
Okay, and so you've always lived in the city though, like in Manhattan?
I lived in Brooklyn for a little while. I had 2 apartments in Brooklyn at different times, but yeah, mostly in Manhattan. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Either in the West Village or in the East Village. So now I'm sort of in the middle of both.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, was it instrumental for you to be in New York, like especially in the 80s and 90s? Like you actually go to the Marvel and DC offices and.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was incredibly. Well, I think instrumental. That's your word, which is a good word. You would go up into the office and drop off pages or have lunch with somebody, and somebody would run out of their office and say, "Hey, can you ink this overnight, or can you do this job?" And that was really the best way to get work at that point, was because you were right there, and you developed friendships with people, with editors, and so I'd go home, I'd ink a page or 2 and drop them off the next day, and that was pretty convenient for them, and it was a great way to start a career.
Oh yeah, and it saves them the FedEx bill too. So,
Sorry, real quick, Shawn, we have the Mignola one up that you did.
The Hellboy. Okay, cool.
The Hellboy. So there it is. I don't know. Where do you want to start the bidding at here?
You choose, Jay.
Let's see. Everyone paying attention? I don't know. Is $100? It's going to be a donation to the Bail Project. Is
sure, we can start there.
To kick that off, who's in the chat here? Just type in a bid, and we'll get that going, and hopefully get it sold before we end for the day.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's sell that thing. Raise some money.
And there we go.
Is anyone asking any questions, Jay?
I'm just scrolling back up because I didn't want to interrupt when you guys were chatting.
Right.
There was a few. One of which was, does Klaus keep copies of all the various pencils he's inked?
That I've inked?
Yeah.
Generally, I used to, and is that Mike Manley?
It is, I think.
Mike, how are you? It's good to see you.
Oh shit.
Mike Manley is the man.
I agree. I definitely agree, and I hear he's a very, very good teacher, by the way. But the answer is, it's funny that I'm trying to make more room in my studio, and the one thing that definitely is going is all the Xeroxes of pencilers and of the pencils that I've done over the years. It's time to get rid of.
Give them to me. I'll do something with them.
Well, you'll auction them off.
Maybe. Well, we're finally going to put an art book together for Klaus, so we're going to try to use some of those pencils.
Yeah,
nice.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to see that.
We've been talking about that for the last 4 years, I think, is trying to get that put together.
What's that?
Your art book.
Mine? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, Klaus.
The first Klaus's hearing of this.
That's right. I wake up in the morning and Jason makes my plans, right? That's he just plans out the day for me. Right, Jason?
Makes things easier, I think.
That's one way of looking at it.
Let's see. Another question is, Klaus, is there a current writer or artist you would like to work with? From Wayne.
I'd love to work with. Hey, Wayne. Thank you for your question. I'd love to work with Chip Zdarsky, Matt Fraction. I'm talking
What do you
to
like
Matt
about-
Kint at the moment about doing something.
Who was that last one, Klaus?
Matt Kint.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He's great.
I like Chip. What do you like? What's drawing you to Chip's work?
He wrote a Spider-Man about 2 years ago that was about his relationship with Sandman,
Mhm.
and Sandman was dying, and at the end of the I don't want to give it away, but at the end of the book, which was really good, anyways, but he really capped it off by having Peter Parker, Spider-Man, brings Sandman to the beach, and which is where he died. And the wind came along and just blew Sandman away. And the whole idea of Sandman and the beach and the sand and the sentimentality of it, I just thought, he just hit it right out of the park. And he's a really good writer, and he's funny. Without getting in the way of the story. I really like what he's been doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
good.
agree.
I dig his work.
Why do you like him, Jace?
I just every time I meet him, I just like the dude. He's funny. He's irreverent. He's just cool. He's just like a good guy. He's fun to be around.
I've never met him, so not only is his work fun to read, but he's a fun guy, I guess, a funny guy.
Yeah, every time I've met him, he's been really cool, to hang out with, and just a funny dude. I don't know. He's a unique personality.
Oh, interesting. Oh.
Let's see. There is another question. Is Jim using his own ink or the standard cartridges for the parallel he's using?
Oh, I'm using Rapidograph ink. This stuff. Let me turn on the light. Because the Pilot Parallel ink is not waterproof, so I just use the Black India ink Universal waterproof inside these cartridges. So that's your little life hack for the day from
That's the life.
from the
Klaus,
street.
what ink are you using?
Klaus, what ink do you use?
Sumi.
Sumi?
Sumi.
That stuff's not waterproof, is it, Klaus?
Sumi.
Is it waterproof?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't.
Yeah, I think so.
The question from JJ. Who has proven to be the most challenging penciler to ink?
Well, for me, it was Will Eisner, just because we weren't inking finished pencils. We were inking.
Yeah, that was hard.
We were inking basically roughs, and it was kind of like, okay, well, I don't want to disrespect Will and go too off model, but it was a lot of interpreting on our parts,
Is that half
Yeah.
the fun though? Is just doing your own thing over?
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
That is part of the fun. I felt completely free and fun doing that with like Will Eisner, or with Walt Simonson. But for some reason with Will, I felt like it has to look like his work. It has to like pay tribute to his, I don't know, the vibe of just what he does. And so it just proved to be more challenging,
Yeah, I feel like I agree with Jim. Like with Simonson and with this Romita Jr., there's all the essential information is there, so you can riff and run wild, and you feel safe in doing that because it's all there. When we inked Eisner, it was not all there, so you're kind of having to draw a lot more while you're riffing with the inks, and that was a little tricky for me.
Mikey, let's see. Klaus is working on a Detective Comics page that's for an upcoming book. So you're getting a sneak peek of a page in progress.
That's exclusive.
It's an exclusive.
That's right, exclusive.
It's awesome.
Exclusive.
Jim, how are you coming along? Are you on your second piece already?
Yeah, I'm on Spider-Man now.
Oh my god.
I gotta do Spidey, man. I gotta do
No,
it.
I know. You're so fucking fast.
His Spider-Man is amazing.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
Did you guys post up your Eisner pieces already?
Yeah, they were on the podcast that came out this past Monday. So they're all up
Okay.
on my social media. They're in the podcast embedded at the end. Jim and I did the Spirit, and Troy Nixie did this guy that was walking up the stairs in the rain. He did a really nice job, Troy.
Troy, yeah, killed it. Was Troy's an image from a Contract with God?
It looked like it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. It
Yeah.
was like a pencil or a thumbnail from it.
Tommy's back.
Oh, wait a minute.
Was that Klaus's phone?
It's the
Hey,
money collectors calling.
on the air right now. Can I call you back later? Well, I'm doing a live call.
That's funny.
Can I call you on the weekend or later? Yeah,
Jim, how did the cable come out?
I'll definitely call you.
Oh, let me show you.
Oh yeah, it came out cool, man. Good touch of the black back there. That was a good call.
Yeah, I'm gonna add some going with some white, going with probably a little zip and make it pop, make it happen.
Make it pop.
Are you auctioning the Eisners?
Yes.
Yeah. Eventually we will, I assume.
Yeah, someone's asking.
Oh, cool.
But right now we have the Mignola one that's up. It's $100 opening bid for the Veil project, and I'll toss in a bunch of prints too to whoever wins. So, just a comment down there if you want to take part. And also, let's see, we're also going to be auctioning off this one this week, which is a Dan Panosian cover.
Oh,
Oh
So
shit.
this one we'll have up. Let's see, sometime this week. I got to ask Dan when he wants to put it up.
We gotta get Dan in on these inking sessions. I'd love
Yeah,
to
last few times I've asked him, he's been busy with
he's
work
always
and his
busy.
family
and his own damn show.
and his own damn shit. That's right.
How long have we been going so far, Jay?
A little over an hour.
All right, I think I got about 15, 20 minutes left.
Mm.
How are you doing, Tommy?
I've got longer than that to go. Here, see.
Oh, good God, that is gorgeous.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, I am having a lot of fun
That's
making
amazing.
mark making.
Yeah, I would say of all the things that we've been inking of other people, this is the most natural for me.
Really?
Why is that? Damn it. He's
Jim, which one have you felt the most natural about?
What was the very? Oh, I think Mignola actually.
Yeah.
Just the blockiness, the weird shapes,
Right.
weird construction.
No, I think
Tommy's.
Oh, man. I guess we'll just keep talking and
Yeah. Mignola was it for you?
yeah, definitely.
Gotcha.
Like it felt like the most in my wheelhouse.
Right. I got you.
But I mean, they've all been fun. They've all been different and interesting.
Yeah, and they've all been educational for me too. I learn a lot.
Definitely.
I think being a kid of the '80s, I was really influenced by Romita Jr. stuff anyway, and there's probably some of it just kind of in my DNA of drawing comics when I was little.
Right.
I mean, when I did my own comics, like the really dumb ones that you know about, Shawn and Jim.
Yeah.
I love those.
There's a lot of swipes in there. There's a lot of stuff from there might even be some Klaus swipes in there.
Really?
Oh shit.
Sorry, Tom.
No, that was I think it was I was super into the Punisher and stuff. When was that? When was the Punisher? 88, 87?
Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
I think that's right. Yeah, it was after Dark Knight.
So,
Man, Tommy's signal is fucked up.
Klaus, how long did you stay on the Punisher? Was that at least a year?
8th grade, 9th.
Five issues.
Okay.
Wow.
I think those are the five I have, and then that's sort of it,
Yeah, it really even with 6 weeks, it was too much.
Right.
I bet that's a really rugged schedule, man.
How's that Spidey coming, Shawn?
I'm having a lot of fun here. And check it out.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that looks awesome.
I really like what I did on his face.
Yeah,
I do too. That looks really great.
And this
That
hand.
color looks good too.
What does? Klaus, what'd you
That
say?
looks really good, Shawn.
Oh, thank
I
you.
love that.
Thank you. I honestly, one thing about what I was doing was I started with this line right here. And that's when I was asking Klaus for some advice. And his advice was to do the opposite of what I was doing. So it's the only line that I don't like on the piece. But it's lost in it now. I think it's sort of invisible. But yeah, I'm glad I got Klaus's advice.
you can tweak that line later.
Yeah, I'll go in with some white and trim it up in a few little areas at the end. I do have some plans with the white. Klaus, do you use a good bit of white ink?
I use white when I'm after I scan them and put them in the Cintiq. But
You do it digitally?
Yeah, the answer is yes. Yeah.
Okay, but you don't use that part is for the computer.
Yeah, not anymore. I don't. I mean, I used to use a lot of white, but I've just found it easier, doing it in the Cintiq.
Right.
As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why I love working digitally is the ability to draw in white.
Yeah, that is a nice.
It's really
part.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't you think, Shawn?
Yeah, that was I don't love to work digitally, but that is one aspect of working digitally I always found really fun.
Yeah. Because it's instantaneous and it's a good solid white line,
Right. And you can adjust the opacity on a solid black area that's
right.
underneath it, and you can see the pencil lines through it, and you can there's so much you can do with the white on that. That's pretty fun.
Yeah. But the answer is I do a lot of white.
And Jim, I know you do.
Oh yeah. I love working that white into the piece after it's done. Kind of like a last phase.
Yeah, that's exactly when I do it too. Yeah.
Thing. But it's weird, man, because I've experimented with lots of different white tools, and there still isn't a perfect white tool. I'll use the whiteout pen. I'll use the Molotov
Yeah.
One for All that I turned you on to, and they still
Yeah, those aren't great.
they still get like gummy and weird.
Yeah.
At the pen. So white is great, but it's always like a weird challenge in a way.
I agree. This is the shit I live by for white. There's nothing better, but
Yeah.
it's you do have to like paint with it a bit.
What is that, Shawn?
It's a Japanese white ink made by Deleter.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
This is an old bottle. You can see it's all worn out.
Yeah.
But they have two types of white. They have an acrylic white, which has some transparency to it, but this is just liquid gouache. So it's not waterproof, but it's so opaque. I throw it on at the end and I can draw with it, and it's great. And then if I need a nib, this stuff, this super white opaque Holbein acrylic ink will run through a nib so well, and it's so opaque.
No kidding. I've never come across that.
This one, Jonathan Glapion turned me on to like a few months ago.
Huh.
But applying that with a brush, I thought sucked. He thinks I'm crazy. But this stuff with a brush is just magnificent.
Awesome.
Ed's asking if you ever tried Dr. P.H. Martin's pen white.
I have not. Shawn, have you?
Yeah, I don't love that. I don't love that stuff. I know some people swear by it, but I'm not a fan. Klaus, have you messed with that?
No, I the last time the white that I'm using is just gouache, just diluted gouache.
I think that's honestly.
I'll buy a tube of gouache and then dilute it with some water.
Yeah, this is kind of like
bad.
A little liquidy gouache.
It's still not great, but it's okay.
Yeah, I think gouache is the way to go.
Wayne's asking, do you guys have a preference between penciling, inking, coloring, or writing?
Oh, man. Inking for me is my favorite thing. So,
how come?
There's just nothing more satisfying than black ink on paper. I just think it's such a fantastic way to express a visual. I like the feeling of it. And when I draw my own work, when I'm penciling my own stuff, I mean, I'm doing a lot of the drawing in the inking phase. So it's just a phase that I rely on the most to express the visuals I'm trying to convey, basically.
I agree with Jim.
Yeah, that was a great answer.
Thank you.
Inking is it's like playtime. Like it's just the fun. It's nothing but the fun.
Yeah.
The hard work's been done. Now it's the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Like penciling involves like some storytelling and thumbnail in it, and sort of setting everything up. Like it's all about the inks. You're working every stage to get to those inks. So then when you get there, it's just like, it's great. Also, there's nothing for me like just dragging a Raphael across a rough surface paper with a thick ink and feeling that grit through the paper and getting the dry brush. It's just fun.
It feels great, right?
Yeah, it does. It really does feel great.
It's an incredibly satisfying activity to engage in. It's like, since I was a kid, I was always trying to figure out like the inking part of drawing. Like, how are they doing that in comic books? Like, how are they getting that black line, And I remember the frustration of trying all these different pens and tools. And
yes.
And then finally, I saw someone using rapidiographs.
Yeah.
And at the time, in the 80s, I was like, okay, well, that's what I need to do. I need to save my money and buy a set of rapidiographs.
It's exactly the same story for me.
I still have my old rapidograph set from way back. It's just sitting on a shelf over there for the past 20 years.
Right.
That first set of rapidographs changed the game for all of us, I'm sure. I was just drawing with those, like, it just felt like I was a pro.
Yeah.
God, I love hearing that. That's so funny.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, you had to, like, clean them out. You had to take care of them. I mean, they were so cool to have. And you put real ink. I think that's the first time I really started using real ink.
Sure. Yeah. That was the downside of rapidiographs, though. They're such a pain.
Have they
were.
gone out of fashion or out of use, or do people still use rapidographs?
I use them for panel borders. I just have one rapidograph that I like to use for panel borders. They don't make them as much as they used to, and a lot of the sizes they used to make are gone. Like I used to have this super fat rapidograph, so I could do these really big, bold panel borders, and I just can't find it anymore.
Yeah. I've got a couple sizes left that I still use, but I do not use them like I used to, you know.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that, Jim. I just put my rapidograph in my backpack to bring home because I got to clean it out again.
Yeah, man, they're too high maintenance for what they are.
Right, I agree. Yeah, but when we were young, that first time getting them, they were awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I felt like a pro. I felt like an adult comic book artist. Like,
right, exactly.
I got my rapidographs. I'm the shit.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
That was a big
story.
That was a big day for me, man. I went into like the art store with my mom, and she was like, "Are you sure you really want to do this? Are you sure you really want to drop like $50 of your hard-earned money on one thing, on one art item?" You know, and I was like, "No, I know what I'm doing. Like, I gotta have them, you know." But man, that was like a vivid memory. That was like a pretty big deal. As a kid who didn't really earn much allowance or whatever, that was
right.
No.
Yeah, they were my big birthday ask one year, and I got them.
How old were you?
I probably got my rapidographs. I was 15, I think.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I was like 13, 14, I want to say.
No, for those of us who don't know, though.
Actually, you know what? I got to back up. It wasn't 15, Jim. You're right. I had them younger than that. I was probably 13. I was 14 when I got them.
Okay. And Jason, what you're saying, man, if you want to show my table, I'll show the rapidograph.
Yeah.
I was just taking a look online. It's a pen. Okay.
Yeah, it's this pen.
Jim, turn off your light box so we can see the pen. There we go.
These would come in a set. There'd be like 6 of them, and they all have a different size indication. They all have a different size nib, and then you fill the cartridge inside with this ink. But this system up here clogs so easily that you can use them for like a week or so, and then you have to completely take them apart and soak them and clean them, and it's a high maintenance tool to
it really is
to take care of, you know.
Have they come out with something better since then?
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, the Micron, like this pen, is sort of what replaced rapidographs. It's just these wear out real quickly.
Right.
So these are just
not refillable.
You buy a big pack of these for like $10, and then one of these might only last me for like 2 or 3 pieces or drawings, and then I just throw it out and replace it.
Yeah, Jay, for me, nothing's replaced the rapidograph for the one use I have because I work on such a heavy textured paper that those microns just get shredded and eaten up alive by the paper, and they're not wet enough to put down a real good solid line on this tooth. So the rapidograph is the only. I need real ink, and that's the best for panel borders, but that's all I use it for.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do some white work, and then I'm done.
Shawn, which one do you use for the panel borders?
I'll show you. I mean, I want the. If I could find a thicker one, I'd use it. Jay, you want to show my screen? It's a 1.2.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
But I used to use a bigger one, and they don't make them anymore. That one broke, so.
Okay.
I would love a thicker one. This one's not thick enough for me. It works, but I would love a thicker one. I even tried using those Molotovs for panel borders, but because of my paper, it just those tips get shredded up so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're expensive, man. It's an expensive tool, you know.
It's real expensive. I'm just grabbing a flat brush to do some white work with. Is everyone listening to the new Run the Jewels album?
I love it.
It's so
I'm already
good.
sick of it.
What, Tommy?
I'm already sick of it. I've killed it for myself. I listened to it so
It is so good.
Who is this, Sean? Who should we be listening to?
It's a rap group. Do you like rap at all, Klaus?
I do, yeah.
They are. I think they're probably they're definitely the most like politically motivated rap group out there right now.
And what's their name, Sean? What's
Run the Jewels?
Oh, Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're great. So they just put out a new album, but also the LP who does their music he's such an innovator in sound. Nothing sounds like him. And Mike's a great rapper. They're great. And the new album's just fantastic.
And it's free. You know, they give all their records out for free.
Yeah, they haven't charged for a single record.
Is this a group that's been around for a while, or a guy? Is it a group or a guy?
It's two guys.
Two guys.
Killer Mike from Atlanta and LP from Brooklyn.
Yeah. And who else? Who's the other one?
LP from Brooklyn.
So they've been releasing material as a duo or on
Yes,
name.
yes.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a good story, Klaus.
Tell me.
Killer Mike was doing a solo album, and the guy who owns Adult Swim, what's his name? Jim?
Mike Lazo.
Yeah, so he knew Mike and he knew LP and thought that they should meet and they'd like each other. So he introduced them, and then Mike got LP to produce a couple tracks on his solo record. And once he heard it, he just felt like he can only rap over LP's beats. So he asked him to do the whole record, and he said he was too busy. And Mike just kept calling him every week, acting as if he was doing the record, to the point where LP gave in and produced Mike's solo record. And then they they just creatively realized how much of a match they were, and the next album was called Run the Jewels. And they were both underground artists, kind of struggling a bit financially, and this stuff made them millionaires now.
Yeah, it blew up in a huge way.
Yeah.
Well, if they're giving it away, how do they make money?
Because they make money off their merch and off their tours, and they're brilliant at what they do with their merch and their tours. It's a great model. It's a model I think about every day. How can we as comic book artists work like this? Because they don't need a record label. They have all this stuff to produce it themselves and put it out, and it worked. I mean, their first record was free, and they haven't charged for records since, and it just worked. I love the model. I want to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Well, but it would involve going on tour and selling merchandise, wouldn't
Well,
it?
I mean, for us, I think it would involve a lot more merch, which we have the capability to do more because we can draw, but also original art. I mean, what if, like, I don't know, there's a million ideas I have. What if you like did a gallery tour of original art from the book and went around and had gallery shows and sold art that way? I don't know. There's a way to do it, I think.
Yeah, and it's like the music resonates with everyone because it has an actual message to it. You know, it's not just about jewelry and cars and stuff. I mean, these guys are angry and they're very intelligent and they have a very obvious and clear message in their work that I think resonates with basically everyone at this point, you know.
Well, Killer Mike is extremely political, and
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
he's probably going to run for office. I mean, he said as much, in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, I think, especially Killer Mike, whom I know more of.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's incredibly smart.
Yeah. He should run, man. I would love that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that speech he gave in Atlanta was something else.
Yeah.
Well, that's the key. If you can give a good speech and get people behind you, that's critical.
Well,
Yep.
completing what is it? Making complete sentences is always good.
Right.
It's a standout in these days, I think.
Yeah, the bar is very low right now.
I'm sorry. I just love making fun of you know who.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to laugh at it or else you'll go crazy.
So, Klaus, you living in New York for a long time, you obviously saw it go from like the 80s era with Times Square and, strip clubs and peep shows to the Giuliani cleaned up era, right?
Yeah.
How dramatic of a change was that?
If I told you extremely, could you imagine if I use that word? There are things that happened in the city before the Disneyfication of it, which is what New Yorkers kind of refer to it as,
Sure.
Times Square being Disneyfied. But there was stuff happening in the city that I cannot speak of in public, on a streaming. It was wild. It was really very, very, very. I don't know what the comparison would be, but it was incredibly wild.
Yeah. I went to New York in 1992 with my dad to look at colleges, and we walked through Times Square, and it was the very end of that crazy era. Like there was still sex shows and prostitutes, and we're from the Midwest, man. So my dad and I are walking through Times Square, and he was kind of like, "Oh, holy!"
What was your reaction? What was your dad's reaction?
He was like, "Holy shit! Wow, okay, this is like the New York you see in the Scorsese movies." And it's funny, Klaus, because I was there to look at. I had my heart set on going to School of Visual Arts, which I believe that you used to teach there.
Right.
So we looked at School of Visual Arts, and then we also looked at Pratt in Brooklyn.
Right.
And at the time, Pratt was in an extremely sketchy and what I would consider to be dangerous neighborhood.
Yeah, my cousin went there. It was real dangerous.
So me being 18 years old from the Midwest, my dad at the end of the trip was like, I don't know if you're cut out for being in New York, like on your own. Like you're a St. Louis kid. You grew up in the suburbs. Like this was our first time ever going to New York, either one of us. And he was like, he's like, this city's incredible. It's amazing. But he's like, son, I just don't think so. And he was probably right, so it didn't happen. I wound up going to art school in Kansas City.
I think you would have adapted, Jim.
Yeah.
I understand my parents.
You would have adapted.
And my folks were being protective, obviously, but
it's funny.
The other problem was School of Visual Arts. School of Visual Arts didn't have a central campus with a dormitory. It's like the campus is spread out in all these different buildings throughout Manhattan. So the fact that there was no central location, I think that was kind of a concern as well.
It's still a concern today. You know, the dorms especially are spread out all over the city. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that was the other confusing part of it is like, wait, so you'd have to live in New Jersey and then do the train every day to go into school? You know, it just...
Yeah, I agree.
There's a whole other, you know, I mean, in the Midwest, man, everyone drives cars. Like, we don't know about subways. We don't know about public transportation. When you're 16, you get like your first jalopy beat up used car. But that's like your rite of passage as a teenager, as a young adult, is like, you turn 15, you can't wait to get your driver's permit. You turn 16, you're going to drive. You're driving. You know, so the whole adapting to like subway life and all that was just a completely foreign concept in a way. But you know, we got to go to New York and actually see it pre Giuliani.
Yeah. Well, and apparently it's something you never forgot either. So
not at all. No.
Yeah. Kind of, you know, occasionally, you know, I'll get a glimpse of like Taxi Driver, the Scorsese movie, and it brings it all back because that's exactly what Times Square was like.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I remember seeing the change kind of from afar because we were living outside of Washington, D.C., but my whole family was from New York, so we would go up there for every holiday and everything. And I remember seeing the change kind of happen through our visits.
Yeah, pretty dramatic, right?
Yo, very dramatic. I mean, Times Square was not an option to walk through.
Right.
When I was a kid, like that was not a place to go.
Right. The other crazy thing that happened when I was in New York at that time was the death of Superman came out. That issue came out. So we're like walking down the streets of Manhattan, and every comic shop, there's like lines down the street to get into the comic shops to buy the death of Superman.
Oh, you must have liked that, Jim. That was probably like nerding you out, right?
Dude, I waited. My dad was like, if you're going to wait, I'm walking down the street to get lunch. He's like, I think you're crazy, but if you need this Superman book, like, go for it. I'm going to get some pizza. I'll see you later. You know, I'll catch you later at the hotel. But yeah, man, I was still full blown comics buying nerd at the time, and I had to get my my bagged Superman Doomsday issue or whatever.
That's awesome.
And then I read the book, and I was like, it wasn't worth the wait. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think mine are still polybagged.
Okay.
Didn't they come in like a black bag when you bought them?
Yes.
Yeah, you got an armband and stuff.
Oh yeah. With the white logo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm not speaking out of school, and if I'm not incorrect, I heard that the creators who worked on that project never have to work again for the rest of their lives.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Take it with a grain of salt.
So
that was Dan Jurgens, right?
Dan Jurgens and
Dan and Louise
Brett
Simonson,
Breeding.
right?
Yeah.
And Brett Breeding, a bunch of those guys, yeah.
Jerry Ordway, was he possibly?
Could be, might have been, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Jim.
Yeah.
Jim, did you run out of brushes?
No, I'm inking with a Q-tip dipped in ink for the big black areas. This is another.
I love that, dude.
This is another life hack art lesson for the kids out there.
Do you recycle them? They used your Q-tips or?
Well, I reuse them because when the ink dries on them, then you can reuse them and get like a real gnarly, grizzled, like dry brush effect.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Interesting.
So
that's a great tip.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I like the feel of it.
Jay, I got the Scarecrow commission I'm working on, and I'm gonna try to get some of this burlap texture in there. That'll be fun.
Nice.
Oh,
It's like it's a
yeah.
pain in the ass.
Paint some ink on it and stamp it down.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun. All right, I'm done.
Did you finish your other commissions?
That's what I'm working on now. I mean, not the second, but that's what I'm working on now. So I can bring them all up to you.
Sweet.
That looks awesome. Both of you, Jim and Shawn.
Thank you all.
Thank
Jim,
you.
that Q-tip is really amazing.
Yeah.
What about me, Coach?
Yeah, Tommy, hold that up. That looks amazing.
It's incredible.
Dude,
Incredible.
How
Get it?
big is that? Wow.
Oh my god, that is gorgeous. God damn.
Yeah,
cool.
that's really incredible.
Fantastic, man.
God damn.
Thanks, guys.
Dude, that explosive area by his feet is crazy.
Yeah, but I love the way Tom picked up on the composition and the design of it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do a lot of black up in here. So I need to get my Q-tip out.
Hey, is that on vellum, Tom? Just regular vellum?
No, it's on like a thinner pound Bristol.
Like a 1-ply or something?
I don't remember. Actually, let me look. It's kind of a nice,
Guys, I
It's
think
a
I'm done for the day.
98-pound. It's like
Yeah.
a cancer paper.
Yeah, that's like a
Oh,
yeah.
I
that's
see
a-
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm done too.
Klaus, you want to, or can we see what you worked on?
Yeah. Just a half a page. It's upside down, right? Yeah. Batman's getting dinged.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, it's that loose. I love it when it's a little loose. You know, like that cape
Yeah.
is really loose. I love it.
I love seeing him
I
draw
love working on
Batman.
John stuff.
John.
Hey,
draws
so we got to
wicked
make a date
Batman.
for the Tim Sale thing.
I will, and also I'll email
Sean,
you
don't
about
forget,
that.
okay?
I won't, and also the JR thing.
And Jason, we got to make a date for Zoom.
Yep, I'm going to work on that this week with Tracy and see how to set it up so we're set
So
up a
maybe
little
we
better.
can do it. We can do it next time. We can use Zoom.
That'd
Yep.
be great.
Yep, I just have to figure
Definitely.
it out. I think we have to use like Discord or something with it.
Right. But
Klaus,
I mean,
I
am
hope-
I wrong? We all froze at some point or another, right?
I
No,
didn't.
I think you and Tommy were the freezers.
We're the freezers.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how often I hear that.
Hopefully, I'll see you in a few weeks, Klaus, for a
Oh,
barbecue.
for sure, Sean. Absolutely. No doubt about that.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, Jason will tell me when you're coming up.
All right, cool.
Of course, yeah. Hope to see you soon, everybody.
Yeah, hopefully we get back to cons at some point soon.
Klaus, it was a pleasure.
Well,
it was a pleasure
it's,
hanging out with you.
Yeah,
man.
we will.
Yeah.
You know, life is not bad. What do you think? I don't know. I'm kind of digging it, as the kids say. Okay, I'm out of here.
Take care, Klaus.
See you, Klaus.
See you guys.
Bye, Klaus. All right, Jay. Were there any bids on the Hellboy?
Yeah, nobody chimed in with any bids, so I guess we'll pop it up on eBay.
All right, that's cool. That's cool.
Hey, I'm back.
With there's Tommy.
I wonder,
Just-
dude, why is Klaus having so much trouble? Like his camera can't even focus. It's so the
Yeah, I don't know
signal's so weak.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's got the same camera as us too, so
I know.
we have to figure that out.
Yeah, he shouldn't be having those issues with that connection he has.
So, can you not live stream with Zoom?
There's a way to do it. There is a way to do it.
We'll have to figure that out. I'll work on that this week.
I'm wondering if it's a live stream thing. But yeah, we do. You can live stream with Zoom. I don't do it because I have no need to live stream. But I remember my audio guy Alan saying there is a way to do it, and he knows how to do it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that seems like that would be the solution if
Totally.
everyone's got different connections going on. It's totally. Like an awkward thing, you know. But we
done with that Spidey, Jim?
We still crushed it though. You know, we still rocked it. I'm almost done.
All right, so when Jim's done, we'll cut the stream off and we can just hang.
Well, Tommy's got a little bit to go, right?
Tommy, how much time you got left?
10 minutes, pop.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. I'm gonna go fill up my water real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Mikey, you can find Jim's auction if you just Google Godzilla and Jim Mahfood. That's the current one that's up. And then once we post the other guys up, we'll do some social media links on their Twitter and Facebook and Instagram accounts.
Yeah. And also, man, if you at Jim Mahfood on my Instagram, if you just scroll down a couple, I just recently posted the Godzilla, and there's a link to the eBay there as well. So shouldn't be too hard to find.
Yeah. And then once we finish these Spider-Man ones, we'll probably post them up in the next week or so, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe latest 2 weeks, but we'll pop those up soon once everyone's done with theirs and they get them scanned and over to me.
Yes. I appreciate everyone who's bought pieces from me during this time. It's been helpful. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Jason, how's everybody in your house doing?
No, they're going crazy. But, yeah. You know, they're doing okay, all things considered. It's gotten a little easier over the weeks as everyone gets kind of settled into their normal, you know. But I guess they're trying to open up the city next month, so
yeah.
I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah, I went to the comic shop for the first time this week on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Like one of my favorite local spots is reopened, and it was awesome to be able to just go in and look around and shop around and buy stuff.
Yeah,
Jim, is that the one we went to?
Yeah, it was one of the ones I took you to. It's called Cosmic Monkey out here in Portland.
Was it busy?
No, you know what they're doing? I mean, they're only allowing eight people in the store at once. And you're required to wear a mask. But it's a big open shop anyway, so there's lots.
Where we met Brandon.
We met Brandon at Floating World in downtown, and that's another fantastic shop. But yeah, I guess our bars and restaurants are going to start to reopen around the 1st of July.
And then 2-3 weeks later, they're going to close.
Who knows? You know, people are chomping at the bit, though, man, to get back to life and get back to work, get back to going into restaurants and stuff. You know, so I understand it, but I don't know what the long-term effects of any of this are. You know.
Yeah, no, here too. Everyone's wanting to go out and socialize, and the problem is that you know, we're not done yet.
Right.
And I think Florida had something like 4,000 or 8,000 new cases this week, something silly.
Oh shit.
And same in Texas and Missouri. You know, those Ozarks, those people who were partying Memorial Day. So
yes, all the idiots in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
That's somewhat close to where I grew up, and yeah, it's
going to be rough. It's definitely going to come back, so I just don't want to get sick.
All right, I'm back. Hey, can I say? Did Tommy leave or he get booted off?
I think he got booted.
Okay. Let me real quick. My daughter is opening up commissions for the first time right now. So if any of you are interested, check out Ink Goblins, ends with a Z, over on Instagram or Twitter. And I posted it on my social media too.
Cool.
That's awesome.
So Zach had it up too.
Yeah, Zach crushed it, man. This summer, I instead of making them get a summer job, which I thought I'd rather see them learn to like hustle and think like an entrepreneur and build their art businesses. I was like, let me see what I can do with that. So I invested $100 into each of their art businesses so they could get supplies and what they needed, and then I want to see them turn around. Zach's already doubled his money, and Zoe's already in the green too.
That's cool.
And Shawn, were your kids doing it was a themed?
Zach, see, I talked to them about marketing strategies. So Zach immediately came up with some good ideas for that. So Zach's theme right now is summer love. So he'll draw you and your partner or your wife or your husband or whoever, boyfriend, girlfriend, in his style. But he's doing these digital commissions, which is a thing the kids these days are doing, where they do it all digitally.
Right.
Zoe's doing traditional, but no theme. So, but what Zoe's doing is Zoe's donating a portion of the proceeds to I think an organization that fights racism.
Cool.
So she's getting involved in raising some money for a good cause while making some money.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think Zach is talking about next doing people and their pets.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, Jim, you should get one of you and Gordy.
Yes. My little octopus buddy.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I'm down for that. That's awesome.
So Shawn, there was a question when you stepped away, was when these will be ready for auction.
On Monday. I mean, mine's done. Jim's finishing his up. Tommy's will be done. So
yeah,
my goal
I'll email a scan.
Yeah, if you guys can get a scan into Jason's hands, then we could get an eBay going. My hope is this podcast comes out Monday morning, and at that time, the auction will be live on eBay for these.
Cool.
Does that sound doable, Jay?
Yeah, sounds good by me. Just send me some scans and I'll make an eBay auction. Unless you guys want to do it on your own accounts, whatever's easiest.
Yeah, I believe the Mignola one I put up, it ends on Sunday this weekend, guys.
Oh, perfect. That's perfect.
So yeah, as soon as that ends, I'm gonna pop up the Romita stuff, and
So you're gonna pop yours up on your own auction page, Jim?
yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll get a link from you to put that in the comments as well, with the link to mine and Tommy's.
Perfect. It's awesome. This was a fun one. I enjoyed Ink and Romita.
Me too. And having Klaus there was gold.
Oh yeah.
There was so much, I was nerding out so hard.
Yeah, I mean, he's the man, It's
Yeah. When he started talking about he sees the history of comics in Romita's work, I was leaving my body at that moment. What an amazing observation, compliment, and it's the truth. It's awesome. That was such an awesome thing.
I thought he was talking about my stuff at that.
You transcend. You're the history of art, Tommy, not just comics.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, that's cool.
Tommy, what are these Bob Peak pieces that you own?
Oh, for one, I pull them out of the garbage at his house. I used to go behind his house in the dumpster. Okay, I'm just kidding.
What? Come on.
At first, I was like, "Here goes Tommy with a joke," and as he continues, I'm like, "Wait, is this real?"
They are drawings. They're not full on paintings. Although one of them has color in it. They're both from Rollerball.
Oh shit! Okay, that's awesome.
They're both comps from Rollerball, and they're awesome. I'll send you a photo.
That's
Jim,
amazing.
you haven't been to Tommy's house?
No.
Oh, dude, you got to see it. Tommy's house is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of my stops for this year of travel, but
Right.
Yeah.
so many plans this year.
Yeah.
So many plans. But yeah, it's I'll take Bob Pete pencils over nothing. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, and actually, even like the Dean Cornwell I have is a drawing. There's something about drawings that I really like. It's seeing like there's something about seeing like the effort in there, and even actually the Dean Cornwell I have has where he redrew part of it and pasted in another leg and stuff.
Oh, that's great.
And
Yeah.
Tommy, don't you have a Bernie Fuchs in your kitchen too?
Yeah, Melissa took it and put it in her new office upstairs.
Oh, nice.
Is it though?
I mean,
Well, for her,
I
it
was
is.
being sarcastic.
Yeah, and then yeah, Henry moved to his place and brought a bunch of art with him, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Henry's billionaire boys club.
That's right.
He's never gonna live that down.
No. I mean, he's like, guys, I only make like $30,000 a year. We're like, yeah, you're a billionaire. Yeah. Shut up, kid. Yeah, you're a billionaire. He's buying next time we get out there to Durham.
Yeah. Dashi's on him.
Yeah.
Or Dames. Let's go to Dames.
Man.
Craving those waffles, man.
Oh God, dude. It sounds so good. All the food out there, like they roll deep.
Yeah, there's a really good food scene there. I'm gonna miss not having that this year.
Yeah, it's remember when that was a thing, going into a restaurant and ordering?
We are going for the first time tomorrow night for my birthday.
Oh shit, dude, that's right.
I made a reservation at this Persian restaurant. It's like my favorite restaurant in Atlanta. They have an outdoor patio area, and they're seating people far apart. So we're gonna go for the first time and check that out.
See, Sean, I have no concept of time anymore. I know that's an excuse everyone uses, but is this Heroes Con weekend right now?
Yeah.
Fuck,
Oh no,
dude.
it'd be next weekend actually.
Okay, so when is your
Father's
birthday?
Day's next weekend. My birthday is on Tuesday.
Oh shit. Okay. Damn, man. Wow.
Yeah, but we're always in Heroes for my birthday.
I know. Okay.
Oh, so you want to? The drawing I did is 14 by 17 paper.
Damn, Tommy doesn't fuck around.
Nice. Well, Sean, that's awesome. You guys are actually getting out.
Yeah. I'm very excited for this.
I ate at a restaurant the other day with Diaz and his son.
Which means you just ate in your kitchen alone.
Yes, and
Which means you and Scarlett split a sandwich.
yeah, we went to this restaurant and there was nobody there. I mean, there were a bunch of people sitting outside, but then they had opened up the inside, and I was like, I don't want to go in there. I don't know, man. But there was nobody in there, and all the staff was like wearing gloves and masks and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's do it. And like that was last Saturday, and like I've had nightmares about it ever since.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So I had right before I got on with you guys, I had like a checkup with my doctor, but we did it on the phone. And she was asking me about it, about how things are going, and I'm like, yeah, I went to this restaurant. And she's like, yeah, don't do that.
The doctor said that?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, oh.
Well, I gotta do this. It's my birthday. I gotta get out.
Yeah. McDonald's delivers, man.
I'm gonna have a nice bottle of wine. Take a little edible before I go.
Yeah, that's well earned. Well deserved.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, this was fun inking Romita Jr.
All right, I think I'm done.
All right, let's see it, Tommy. And of course, he's frozen. That you can just see it from here, though. It's badass. All right, hold it up, Tommy, because you froze for a minute.
Okay.
Hot damn.
God damn, dude, that is gorgeous.
That's cool.
Wow.
You look like Jared Jr. still?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
I didn't completely fuck it up.
No, that looks awesome. It's so powerful.
All right, cool. Yeah, I really wanted to do like a Spider-Man or something like that one that you were working on. But yeah, I kind of like. Oh, I saw this one. I thought it'd be cool with the lighting.
Yeah, you really killed that one.
I might come in with a little bit of white paint and do a little bit of like spatter.
I was thinking that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I was wondering if you'd do that.
And then I think it'll be good.
It's beautiful,
Great.
man.
Thanks, guys. So, how do you usually sign these, right?
Yeah, I inked his signature and then signed below it. And if the signature's not there, yeah, like what Jim, I see what Jim did. Yeah, that's a good thing too.
You got to do JR, your name, and a little shitty spider.
That's awesome.
That's how you do it.
Or I got my bougie ink pulp stamp now that I can.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, I still need to get a stamp, man. I like that.
Oh, dude, look at this. Watch this. This one finally came. So you can see that is a wax seal of my logo.
Oh, shit.
So I got the stamper for it right here.
You're getting medieval with it.
I have, look at that. So you just put the wax down,
Yeah.
do it up.
It's like you have your own house on Game of Thrones or something.
That's right. The house, yes.
The house that Crystal built.
I got a crow that's going to fly all the prints that I stamped to the people that got them.
That's the future. Delivery crows. Oh, no, ravens, man. Not a crow, a raven.
Yeah, right. My bad.
Yeah. That's incredible.
All right. There's one last question, then we'll head out. Is how do you guys use the white splatter?
Oh, that's a good question. I've tried everything. What do you do, Jim, when you splatter white? How do you do it?
I use the Winsor Newton calligraphy white right here.
Yeah.
I crack this guy open. I stick a little toothbrush in it, and then I just splatter it down. I usually mask off the area that I don't want to get hit or whatever, and then I splatter it down, and then you can flick it bristles and get that white explosion.
Yeah.
Or you can do the Mateo thing where he just makes a fucking mess of everything everywhere.
I use Mateo's method. I find it the most effective.
I like the toothbrush.
Yeah, that's what I do. Because the toothbrush gives like a mist of white, but the way Mateo does it, you get like a lot more like big droplets, and it's I love that more. But then I see like what Jason and Sean Alexander, what Jim do with the mist of white, and it looks great too.
Yeah, just experiment at home, have fun. Get some.
And also you can do like Mateo does it with the white pens, the Posca pens, these right here. And that's what he taps, is he gets these pens and he just Jason, you hear that?
Yeah, brings back memories.
Can you hear that annoying sound?
That's Jason's. That's the sound of Jason's tablecloths getting ruined.
Right. But
Yeah,
you know what?
well,
You know what makes sense about that Mateo method, though, man? I didn't realize that Mateo is a sick drummer until he moved to Japan, and he got behind a drum kit and was crushing it. And I was like, oh, now I know what your excuse is to do your white ink thing. It's a fucking drumming thing that you're doing.
It's his drum solo, man.
Yeah. It all makes sense.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. We've been on a little over 2 hours.
Shit. Okay, cool. Awesome.
We got some stuff to do today, I guess. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming in and hanging out with us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we'll have these pieces up this week on eBay, so just check social media for the links and scans. So yeah, we'll be donating proceeds to the Bail Project and a few other spots, I guess.
Yep.
And then hopefully next week we'll be online at some point doing some streams. So yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Everyone have a great weekend.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.